All right, we are live on YouTube. Welcome everybody to the March 2021 Jefferson Park Forward General Meeting. We are going to move our JPF business to the end of the meeting and get right to our guest speakers because a couple of them have prior engagements. So with that, if you guys want to change your view to speaker view, that'd probably be the most helpful for you. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and kick it right over to Congressman Mike Higley.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm looking forward to doing this in person. If you turn on C-SPAN, we are voting into the night, but this is the DC office. Come visit us when we can. The virtual tour, my bike, the Wrigley Field seats, the hockey net, the American Indian lacrosse stick on loan from the Field Museum. That's about it. You know, it's been since November. A hell of a lot's happened since we last talked. We survived an insurrection, so it's something you usually fill into a monthly update. Interesting day, but you know, we move on. The most important thing I always talk about when we have community meetings is services. No matter what's going on, no matter how important or what the crisis is in DC, it is still the most critical thing we do to help individuals one at a time and small businesses, particularly with COVID, one at a time. Dana's on the phone with me, our staff on the call with us, our staffer. And if we can, we're going to post our contact information. So, you know, we have two offices. Conveniently located. So most important, let us know if we can help you. We're actually starting to get passport requests. A year ago, we were working to get people repatriated. We had people scattered all over the world and they couldn't get flights back. Since then, we've worked on, again, PPP, unemployment benefits, you name it. We've had to deal with it. Now we're getting a little bit back to normal with an unfortunate and aggravating and frustrating issues like the Postal Service, which we can talk about at your convenience. We just passed an extraordinarily important CARES package at the end of the year and a rescue package just now. The most recent one will provide about $1.4 billion to Chicago Transit, Metra, PACE, CTA. That will literally keep the trains running through 2023. You know, as frustrating as it is to see them at low capacity, the economy doesn't come back if they aren't in place as we start to get back in place and to get things going again. And even before that, the most important thing this bill does is $400 billion to fight the pandemic and recovery. It triples the number of public community health workers. So when the president says everybody can get the vaccine by April, that's the commitment. You know, maybe it's May 1st, but we wouldn't have imagined that just a month ago. It is not beautiful. The rollout's unfortunate, but there was no plan inherited, and we still have a long way to go. No one should take this for granted. And while we fight the pandemic, it's important that we move forward with stimulus payments, Keynesian economics at its absolute best. We continue the unemployment benefits, expanded PPP, reformed it for folks. We've passed things to help our concert venues. I'm the sponsor of the bill to try to help our local gyms and fitness centers where we've lost 1.4 million workers, believe it or not, during the course of the pandemic. Obviously, still a lot more to do. When asked what's next, it's on the biggest picture. We passed an immigration bill dealing with the Dreamers this week and something to deal with the ERA extension and Violence Against Women Act. But next is infrastructure, right? And if there is a city in this country that's going to need help with infrastructure, partly because of the need, partly because of its financial issues, it's Chicago. And it's not just the typical infrastructure bill, roads and bridges. And clearly, boy, there's a hell of a lot to do there. it's modern transit and what we still have to rebuild in our transit system. But, the ravages of climate change, our lakeshore, we've lost beaches, we've lost the shoreline, and that all has to be rebuilt. We have schools that are over 100 years old, park district facilities, and I want to protect our cultural institutions. Folks, the list is long, and I'm convinced that we can get it done, working hand in hand with the mayor, county board president, the governor, and all our local elected officials. So we're going to do that. You're going to hear that we're bringing back earmarks. We're not going to call them that, but basically what everyone should know is it's just directed funding by members. Each member is going to have the ability to direct 10 sets of funding. And obviously for me, it's going to go for education, again, some infrastructure issues, just the gaps that are out there in food security, housing security, and what local governments need for transit projects and so forth. As you know, my district goes out to Hinsdale, Oak Brook Terrace. So in its own weird way, it's been a little easier to get around to all the community meetings via social media, via Zoom, which I've grown to hate as well, just because I can do it from DC and I don't miss as many meetings. But we'll see. We are going to do a redistricting. It is starting in Springfield. I don't draw my own map. Right now, I represent about 750,000 people. Illinois is going to lose a congressional district, which is not good news. So that still means we'll gain. So I'll probably represent about 800,000. Don't know which way the maps are going to go, but it's clearly not for me to say. But the ward maps will change. The county commissioner maps will change. State rep, state senate, and obviously congressional. So boy, there's a lot on the plate. I'd rather answer any questions you might have rather than go on. But that's a thumbnail sketch. It's been a hell of a stretch since the election. But, I made it through the 6. We can make it through anything.
Thank you so much. So anyone that wants to ask a question, you can do so by putting it in the chat, or simply if you want to unmute yourself right now. I don't know that we need to do a stack thing or raise your hand if everyone just cognizant that there's other people in the room. But yeah, looks like Ryan has his hand up. Go ahead, Ryan.
Congressman, could you talk a little bit more about the COVID funding that went for CTA, Metro, and PACE? Does this bill, or is the Congress looking at funding more on the operations rather than capital?
Well, the care package and the recovery package just went straight. The first one kept the things running. You could ask to the head of Metro and the CTA and PACE. They wouldn't be they would have stopped back when. So It kept them going. It was strictly operational in every sense. This bill puts 1.5, about 1.5 if you follow the formula. And it's enough operationally to ensure that they'll operate through the end of 2023. Now we're still at lower capacity, trying to bump those numbers up, and they're starting to get there. It's sort of chicken and egg. If people can't get to work, things don't get going, but if things aren't going, there's no need for the trains. So the trains have to be there. It's one of the reasons we had to help pay for airline workers, because when an airline shuts down, it probably takes a year and a half to get back up. Same principle, folks. Now with earmarks and a $1.9 trillion infrastructure bill, now you're going to see capital improvements, right? And the list is long. It's just maintenance, keeping things functioning the way they should. Unfortunately, transit in this country is way behind. And you want to put it in perspective, India, Europe, and China spend somewhere between 3 and 4 times more than we do on infrastructure. It's what makes them competitively advantaged, gives them a competitive advantage over us. In the Depression, I mean, think about all the things they built in the Depression we still use. It's, I tell folks that they should think about it less as an expenditure, as an investment. Just like we put a new roof on the house, put new windows in, it makes the house worth more and functions. Same goes for our economy. You're rarely going to see a bill that has bipartisan support and and unions and the Chamber of Commerce, as you'll see for an infrastructure bill, because the truckers and the rail industry will tell you, we're in trouble. And it will only work if I care just as much about the tunnel in New York to Jersey as they do about the Blue Line, as I should about the locks on the Mississippi, because most of the stuff grown in Illinois is exported. So if I care about farmers as I should, that's a big deal. Just as much as we should care about the digital divide for people in Chicago and rural areas where the pandemic, it showed us just what a dramatic divide it is.
All
Thank-
right. Adam, want to go ahead?
Yeah, thank you. And thank you so much for your record of progressive votes, especially the one today, or I think it was today, on the Violence Against Women Act and upholding that. I really appreciate that. This is not a happy comment after that part. In late 2019, I quit my good paying job to start a small business. COVID hammered the business. I cashed in both of my 401ks. I burned through all of my savings. I took on an SBA EIDL loan for $12,000. Both myself and my wife put our first stimulus directly into the business. I still struggled and continue to struggle. I wasn't eligible for the $600 stimulus because it was based on 2019 tax filings. Biden's negotiation with his own party has made it so that I'm not eligible for this $1,400 stimulus either. Because I don't take a salary due to the business being so slow, I have no payroll and am therefore not eligible for PPP at a state or local level. So to recap, I received only one of the 3 stimulus payments based on income numbers from 2 years ago. The business isn't eligible for any of the PPP that is available. And just this week, I learned that the EIDL SBA loan that I took is not only not forgivable, but shifts to me personally if the business goes under.
And was that your bank telling you that?
No, that was the SBA when I called this week. It was a direct SBA, SBA.gov.
If you don't mind, I wouldn't mind if my staffer in DC who handles these, if she could sit with you or virtually sit with you and walk through some of this. And you're absolutely right. The measure that passed through the House, you would have been eligible.
Yeah.
But we lost what you would have fit in this, and honestly, in the Senate.
I know.
And there's no excuse.
If I may just finish this last thing I wanted to say.
Sure.
I just wanted to say that it's probably too late for me since I've slipped through the cracks as well as many other small businesses. What are you doing to ensure that Biden doesn't kowtow to these wretched establishment Democrats? And I am a very progressive individual that will continue to ignore actual progressive issues the citizens of this country actually require. Things like universal basic income or UBI.
Well, yeah, let me put it this way. I mean, a lot of this is going to pivot off of the filibuster, right? Now, I don't have a vote over there, but the filibuster has a history steeped in racism. Its principal use. We recognize if you get rid of the filibuster, when you don't have control, they can do bad things. But you got to weigh it right now with just what a turning point we are with HR 1, which was the ability to allow everybody to vote. And if you have that, there's over 100 bills in general assemblies in this country to impair people's right to vote. That will make it almost impossible to keep the Senate or to grow the majority in the Senate. So most of the measures you're talking about, I would add climate change. I would add the infrastructure bill. I would add additional supplementals that would help you. They're going to be dependent upon whether or not we blow up the filibuster. So I think that's kind of where we're at. I think the House has and will continue to pass the stuff that fits the bill for you. And I just think, part of this is the president's ability to deal with a 50-50 Senate, which is not easy. So let me do this. We'll keep in touch about what's going on over there and what we can do. And I think we'll continue to pass this. Some of it might go through reconciliation, but in the end, it's going to end up on the filibuster. But if you'd like, and I wouldn't mind, being part of that, at least going through, it's worth trying, sitting down with my staff and going through what other options might exist for you. And I have no problems talking to the regional administrator or the director nationally to see if there's anything else that can be done.
Thank you.
The first part of that would be if you could get your info to Dana, who's on the call later, and then we'll, get you situated with Bridget Hogan first, and then, myself as well.
I'd really appreciate that. Thank you.
Sure, no problem.
Patty?
Yes, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And Adam's story is really what this is all about. So it's important that you're able to, connect with people in our community. One of the things that I'm focusing on right now is that there are 250 bills across the country that are threatening voters' rights. And while we are in Illinois, in a place where we're not necessarily vulnerable to that, we have an opportunity, I think, to really focus on educating voters about ranked choice voting. And I'm working with Fair Vote Illinois, and they told me tonight that you are someone who is supportive. Are you planning to help in delivering that message and helping connect,
sure.
empowering voters, really?
No, absolutely. And there's a lot of ways to do it. And there was no better teacher than John Lewis about this. It's great stuff. So absolutely. And again, if you want to follow up and talk about this more, talk to Dana. I've been gone here most of the last, since the election, or just seemingly forever. But we're going to be in the district quite a bit now, which is nice, for 3 weeks. So I wouldn't mind following up on that at your convenience. So again, get your information to Dana, who's on this call, and he'll work with our new scheduler in the district, and we'll see if we can sit down and talk about what else we can do.
Excellent, thank you.
Megan, did you have a question?
No, I did not have a question. I was just supporting.
Oh, sorry. Well, hello. Does anyone else have anything for the Oh, Christina. Let's go with Christina.
Hi, I just wanted to make sure I'm kind of going to the right place. Again, because Adam's talking about a little bit of a personal story, I'm still having problems with my 2019 taxes.
Okay.
And I wanted to find out if that's something that I could get help through you, or what's happening with the IRS.
No, absolutely. We look, the IRS doesn't have enough folks to handle all these issues, and we are able to get faster, better answers. I'm the chairman of the the Congress isn't funded by a budget. It's funded by 12 bills, appropriation bills. I'm the chairman of one of those 12, and I fund the IRS, so they tend to listen to us. They don't do everything we ask or say, but we do get good answers, and we do get responsive. So again, make sure if you don't communicate and link this. Adam, who would that be? Would that be Erica, who would work on the IRS issues? Who else is that? I mean, Dana.
Sure. Jenny.
Jenny?
Has been working with IRX taxpayer advocates. Yeah, I have Christina's info. I will send out an email.
All right. And
yeah, because it's from what I'm hearing because I've been speaking with people at the IRS office basically 3 times a week for the last 2 months, and they are just keep saying that they're severely understaffed, and it's because of COVID. Is there anything being done to help that? Because I don't see the tax.
We upped their numbers, and we upped their numbers dramatically the last 2 times. So they're catching up. They are also, I think they underestimated how much the stimulus check process was going to set them back. I think the reason they put off the filing deadline this year is because they're behind on last year's returns. COVID did set them back. A lot of people working from home. And then now they're going to be, there's a new tax law they dealt with under the horrible one under the Republicans. And now they're going to have to deal with our changes on tax credit and child tax credit. So they have a lot on their plate. They need to accept more help. Our budget is my part of the budget, which is the appropriations, is going to come out soon. And we are going to force them to get the help they need so that they're not so far behind.
Okay, that would be helpful. Yeah, I've got delays from my 2018, 2019, and now my
Okay.
2020 taxes because I have to file paper from various reasons. But
Dana, tell
that's
Jenny
a long
to
time.
keep me informed on this one, okay?
okay,
Sure,
appreciate it.
I
Thank
know
you.
that the delayed, the extension of the deadline last year didn't help.
Right. Well, look, it was a perfect storm. There's a lot of things going on there, but for whatever reasons, there are those who didn't want to help the IRS. And in the perverse outcome was that more people of modest means were audited than people who were wealthy. So
Oh, perfect.
we're getting that changed as well. There's a lot of catching up to do, but
Yeah.
we'll get it done.
Okay.
So
I
I've got
appreciate the help. Yeah, because of those delays, a lot of people like me fell through the cracks with our stimulus money. I received none, absolutely none.
well,
And you know,
there's
it
a lot of
directly
people.
stems back to that.
A lot of people are surprised. There's no guarantees, but there are positive results at times when we bring these issues to their attention. I probably have time for one more, then I got to go speak to the folks at Bowmanville.
Thank you.
All right, we
Thank
have
you.
Sam on deck to ask a question. Go ahead, Sam.
Congressman, quickly, this is a consumer protection related question. Last year around this time, I had purchased a ticket to go travel to Virginia to visit my family. And obviously because of COVID, the flight was canceled. And the company that I booked through, Expedia, promised credits for myself and my daughter. And fast forward to like a week ago, literally spent 6-7 hours just trying to get through to Expedia. And they basically do everything they can to make it as painful as possible, almost impossible to redeem your credits. And
Right.
this is something
Okay.
that I've seen other people do. And I just want to, is there something that you can do? Is there some sort of
No,
legislation?
it's the kind of advocacy we do. I haven't had to deal with Expedia before, but it's the kind of thing that we are glad to try to help. So please stay in touch with us. So again, I have no idea who in the district office handles this sort of thing, but we'll get on it and we'll stay on it until we get an answer. Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone. And I'm looking forward to you having events too. I want to see people in person. It's just,
We do too.
I miss people, good, bad, and indifferent. It's the human touch. I want to go to the opening. I don't care about opening day. I just want to go the opening week. I want to sit in Wrigley Field and pay for an overpriced warm beer and cold hot dog and sit in the sunshine and be with people. We all need it. And we got through this so far because, we recognize we need each other. And there's more that unites us than divides us. So let me try to help you with these things. And I ask that you, gently stay in touch with my office until we get a good answer for you.
Awesome.
you
We
very much.
appreciate you and your time.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Hang in there. See you.
Thank you.
Bye. All right. It's always nice when he joins us. And just so everyone knows too, they reach out to us to ask if we'd like them to be here. So they're very active and I really appreciate them and all their responsiveness when we do have questions. So with that, I'm going to kick it over to Lionel Robb, who's going to give us some updates on the North Side Cultural District. I keep wanting to say Northwest Side, but it's North Side Cultural District. You should have all of the ability to share your screen if you'd like. So I'm going to let you have it. Thanks, Lionel.
Cool. Well, thanks everyone. It was great to see the congressman and see folks. I'm not going to go through the whole deck. I'm just going to give a quick update and show some new renders and images. If you don't know the plan and what we're working on or who I am, I'm Lionel Rabb. I'm the co-founder of the Ed Paschke Art Center with Vesna, the love of my life, and the brains and brilliance and beauty behind the Ed Paschke Art Center next to Ed's amazing work that we brought to the community, built the Art Center and made it accessible and free since 2014. I'm also the chairman of the National Veterans Art Museum, which we relocated to Portage Park and helped reinforce that organization, and also installed the 58,000 dog tags for everyone who died in Vietnam at Harold Washington, because the building that it was at, the old Women's Park in 1801, was taken back by the city to make a public park for the neighborhood there, which is great, but not great for the museum when it occurred. I'm also the president of Jefferson Park Advisory Council. So I also live in the neighborhood, obviously, and I'm a very big fan of our neighborhood, and I'm a Chicagoan. So it's great to see folks. If you haven't seen the plan, what we're talking about doing, and I'm assuming everyone can see my screen as I'm just going to jump between a couple screens quickly, is we're really talking about, so we acquired the lot at Lawrence and Long where the, in the Frank's on, so I'm going to say it, the Bucks home, I always call it the Ernst home, the Bucks home, whatever it was. The home right behind the Ed Paschke Art Center was acquired by a developer, was quickly torn down, and we were able to stop the building of the condos and purchase the lot out from them. Good folks, and they made quite a bit of money leaving. So our plan is to really try to deliver and utilize that space for more community access to arts. And the way we want to do that is one, build and actually I'm just going to switch to pictures because pictures are fun and great. So can everyone see this? Yes, okay, great. All right, so what you're looking at is the intersection of Lawrence and Long right here. This is now currently an empty lot that we paid 8 figures for. I hope it helps everyone's property values. This is the current existing Ed Paschke Art Center. This is the Isidore House. This does not exist today, meaning this white section here. So what we're really talking about doing, we brought John Ronan in. John Ronan is the architect who did the Poetry Foundation. He did the Independence Library, Comer Hospital. He was runner-up for the Obama Library design, which personally I think was better than the choice, not to diss the project down there, but I really love his work and his design. So we worked on, I forgot this is streaming live, so this will be, so maybe they'll stop asking for money. So we love John, and we had built our family foundation built a larger community plan. And so when we were able to acquire this lot, we learned the hard way, as we all learn in this community, land acquisition matters. Folks sit in this community on land and do nothing and wait and wait and wait for God only knows what. And it's really disgusting and frustrating. It angers us greatly. So we were able to acquire the lot, and then we brought the community in, JPF, JPNA, Ron Ernst, who happens to be our neighbor, the park, and the alderman's office, and elected officials. We had not, Dana, I'm sorry, we did not get to the congressman yet, but we'll be knocking on the door because we love earmarks. So we brought in a really great community process, had over a dozen meetings, culminating in the support of everyone unanimously, JPNA, Ron, everyone came to the project, excited, interested, aldermen signed off, and it went to city council. So I'm gonna walk through a little bit. And I'll talk about where we are today, because there are some interesting points that I want to bring up. the plan is to take the Ed Paschke Art Center and build it in this section here that you can see. This is the first floor of the new building. We're taking 8,000 square feet of cultural space between current Ed Paschke and NVAM, and we're going to make it 20,000. So you're going to end up with about 20,000 cultural space. There is a bridge. We did bring CDOT in there. They initially, again, this is being recorded and streamed. They seem okay. I will never hold a word to CDOT or the city of Chicago, but so far planning is very interested and open. And their biggest question is, what are we going to do about landscaping the parking lot here that we don't own? And I said, we don't own it. And they said, oh, well, can't do anything about that. So our plan is to put the Ed Paschke Art Center on the first level of the new building. Anyone who's participated in our Words and Music, where we brought great folks here with Nick Tremulous and Alejandro Escobedo, those guys play downtown Saturday. They come to the Ed Paschke Art Center, do a set for everyone for free. We pay them. It closes out quick, as everyone knows. We're going to add a 98-seat auditorium here for events like that. It will be, our goal is to support local artists, support Chicago artists, and make it a better experience. We do plan on also working with the Park District and the Advisory Council to restore the Isidore House and make it a public cafe. We call it a cultural district plan because we are including the gift. I was on their board priorly, Michael and Laura, great friends. So any money that we're going to be raising, we want to throw some love to them. This project will exceed $12 million, so they're starting a capital play. We want to make sure that if we're going to bring the arts folks out, we want to bring everyone out together and do great things. So we want to help them in the process. You'll notice this is dichromatic film. Obviously, this is an homage to Ed Paschke. This is perforated brick. We did push it back. As I said, we live here. We're not developers. When the architect designed it originally, they pushed it up to the lot lines. Everyone knows there's a post right here on the corner that we can all barely, if I put a building at the corner, you couldn't get a double wide stroller by. I would be scratching my own glass because I would be angry at myself for what I had done. So we pushed it back 8 feet from the post, but this side over here is pushed back 18 feet. So that was a compromise with Ron. We moved off the lot line also. That allows windows, but it also gives him more breathing room. Obviously, we'd love to work with him in the future to do more with that parcel. Entrance will be at Lawrence and Long. On this side, it does span Lawrence and Higgins. NVAM, the National Veterans Art Museum, will be on the Higgins side, so they will come through the current Ed Paschke space. This is looking down Long. This is a perforated brick. The city was very interested in really understanding the texture, so we're really trying to embrace Chicago brick, Chicago feel, make it feel good coming down Lawrence. Make it feel airy. This is glass behind it. We do need walls to hang things, so we can't have windows everywhere, but we want to be able to make it feel comfortable outside. Entrance aspect coming down Lawrence. If again, everyone's bored, I can click off of this. These are interior shots that aren't as exciting yet, so I'm just going to jump here from a shot from, oh, this is the back. So this is the windows in the auditorium. This is the alley that we all love. So this would be a glass decorative film. This is staff entrance. Side view from the park. This is the bridge. So literally you'll be able to come in VAM, have the Veterans Art Museum experience, come up to this is the new Above and Beyond gallery. So we're going to move the 58,000 dog tags from Harold Washington. If anyone's from the library, sorry, we haven't told you yet. It's only on loan anyways. We're going to move it back to the community, give it a permanent home. This will be everyone who died in Vietnam in death order, purpose-built gallery. It will be stunning and amazing to be able to see this through glass and then also stand there and just recognize our veterans and the service and the sacrifice their families have given. There will be a bridge. This will be new circulation for elevator storage and some ADA compliance pieces and fire staircases. This is an inside shot from the dog tags looking out. The second floor, I'm just going to have to go back a couple slides here. I'm sorry. I just want to show it just from a floor plan perspective. There's a really cool staircase, right? So we're talking about, we're really going to build on the Ed Paschke brand as world-class art and really build the same blue-collar welcoming space that will be free for our community. but really give us more space to bring in really more of Ed's art and more exhibition space. The second floor will be all exhibition. So this is coming up to the second floor. This is the second floor. So large gallery here, 2 multi-purpose galleries that can be broken up or together. This is going to be Ed's lithographs in a digital room, bathrooms on every floor, some offices, and then this is the bridge over. The idea on the exhibitions, if you participated in the Ed Paschke, what we've done, I mean, the pictures behind me, that's Ed and also Steve Shapiro from the Civil Rights March. We had a lineup this year that was so focused on equity, before equity was the conversation. We had the Folded Map Project. We had Vanessa German from Pittsburgh, who was an amazing artist, really focused on violence against Black women, and now I believe has expanded to BIPOC. But we had this lineup that was so amazing. Pandemic hits, and we just got to be real about it's hard to schedule exhibitions and keep things open and closing and dancing around trying to figure things out. I feel the pain of the folks who've been suffering with the IRS and stimulus and all this other stuff, and it's just been really shitty. That should be on YouTube Live. We had to make hard decisions on what we do, and what we decided to do was triple down and just build something bigger and make it better, and build more space and make it more exciting and try to get it done. So this is exhibition space. So it'll be community engaging. We'll look at local artists coming up. We'll look at Chicago artists. This is about the Chicago community. All the 3 institutions will remain independent, separate boards. We are just providing an opportunity to them to co-locate. And we are looking at the idea of organizations this size. So this would put our neighborhood further on the map, because I do believe we're on the map. But it would put us as a center point with an architecturally relevant space and world-class artists, from Ed Paschke to the National Veterans Art Museum collection, and then bringing in not only local but world-class artists to our second floor, along with our musical artists and speakers. Plus a really cool cafe at the Isidore House will be amazing. So that's where we're up to. Where we are in the process is it's a process. So we had great meetings with DPD, really moving that along. We've got department meetings coming up. It's been introduced to council. Alderman's office has been supportive. We haven't hit any major roadblocks. We're working with the state to release capital dollars. We're calling Congressman Quigley right now on his cell to interrupt us at the meeting. But no, we've had a really great support from our reps. Martwick and LaPointe have been wonderful. And you guys have been wonderful. All the community groups have been great. So yeah, if I can answer any questions, I'd be happy to. I may stop my share just so I can be more aware of who's saying what.
Cool. That's awesome. When we saw it, I think a couple of us almost cried. It's pretty exciting. We're pretty, we stand behind it 120%. I can't wait for my kids to go there. Can't wait to go there. So I'm looking through. I don't see any hand. Oh, there's a hand. Hey, Ryan, what's up?
Hey, Lionel, are you able to discuss your timeline for building at this point, or not quite yet?
Yeah, I mean, we've been as transparent and as realistic as we can. Our goal is hopefully to get a shovel in the ground. I was ambitious and ridiculous in pushing on Ronan and the team to really get the designs done so the community could react correctly to something, not to an idea, they could see something. So we got really good traction there, really worked well with the Alderman's office to get it done. Our goal is to have a shovel in the ground. It would be really optimistic and amazing if we get it in the ground before the end of the summer with permitting. We know the bridge will take at least a year to get approved, so we were starting that process. Once we're moving, we think that it's a year to 18 months. So we're optimistic there's a shot that InVam may open early next year, because we've already, if anyone's noticed, we did the public notice, we moved all Ed's art back to storage, unfortunately. That was really tough for us. But Ed's art's back in storage because we had to make the tough decision that we're not going to reopen Ed Paschke because we need to start construction for InVam. The process for that is easier and lighter than the big building. We met with a great friend of ours, an advisor, Lisa Stone from SAIC, now at Kohler. She said the best building is the building that's built. So we're gonna build on that momentum there. And so InVan may open a little bit earlier next year. We've got a lineup there that's amazing. The other building may be halfway or full in construction by then. So optimistically, Ryan, I'm going to say some are super optimistic. Later in the next year is probably more realistic. And the worst case to me is sometime in 2023.
Great, thank you. And if I could ask just one related question to that. DPD, you said, was asking about that property on Long and Higgins next to Ed Paschke. Is there an interest or an ability to acquire that at some point in the future? Would you be interested in doing that if it?
We would love. So the way we ended up buying Lawrence and Long is that the owner of the property said no to $1 million for that lot. We are very interested in that property. I don't know if there is an opportunity to make it. There's obviously some level of a cap on what we can do. We did also acquire the Cozy building. So that's going to be a support building for this. It's going to be probably storage, remain empty, just during the construction process. Then we may repurpose it. There's a lot of interesting ideas what we may do with that. But yeah, so Ryan, to answer your question and not go on too long about that is, yeah, we'd love to buy it. We'd love to make that. We wouldn't massively change the design. We have a big interest in protecting the park. This building will also be minimum LEED Silver certified. We may try to go higher and do something more interesting. If we could acquire that, we'd like to make it sculpture and sitting area, maybe later integrate it into a concept. But just off the bat, just clean and protect and make the park process even better, greenscape it. And yeah, so we'd love that. And we'd love support for that. So, we're good neighbors. And we'd love to work with them. So we haven't really, we cared more about the community and input and the process than wrangling with other property owners at this point. We wanted to get to where we could get because we want to get it done. And then we hope that everyone wants to come to the party, or that the city helps us and we can at least make it clean and better for our community, because we all know it's an eyesore. And I've said that. So I said that publicly and to the owner's face. So yeah.
Thank you.
All right, we have a question in the chat from Heidi. How is the gift involved? Where will their space be? I heard a rumor of a move to the corner of Milwaukee and Lawrence.
Yeah, so the gift, just to be clear, the gift is not locating in this building. I don't think I'm at liberty to say where they're looking to go. I don't know if that's public. If anyone knows it is, they can raise their hand and let me know. They do have a space on contract with it, which is within area, in walking distance. It's not far from that. It is not at that corner. So the interest really there from our perspective is that we're working on a model that if someone gave it, so everyone will have a choice to support the organization that they want, right? If they want to say, I want to be with InVan, go for it. Or EPAC or TCAC, the Chicago Art Center is the exhibition name. But our goal is that folks like you and other major donors that we can attract because of our network and the Ed Paschke brand and the InVan brand may say, hey, I want to invest $100,000 in this project. And we have the opportunity to say, well, hey, you're going to also impact a local storefront theater who's also trying to do a capital project. And we're going to take a set aside, whether it's 7% or 8%, we're working with their board to discuss that. But the building size and budget sizes will break down what every dollar will be allocated. So people will have the option just to give to the cultural district plan. And I'm hoping that it will help jumpstart their project and development, because, they're moving through the process and we know the process. We've been there building Ed Paschke, reinforcing InVan. And this project is, 5-10 times bigger than theirs. So we can help them. And so that's the idea. The other notion from operationally, all the organizations, and we're beginning to talk with setting up a network of organizations this size to, sort of do co-exhibition. So maybe InVan is doing something, they can use our second floor. Maybe it's about 9/11. We're doing a 9/11, the anniversary is coming up. So they're going to be post 9/11 artists featured. Maybe there's a gift show. Maybe they're doing a show downstairs, maybe they're doing a show at the park. But the goal is sort of, how do we work tighter together operationally? And then, but realistically today, how do we help deliver some money to them for their project? Sorry, Heidi, I can't tell you what it's going to be.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I appreciate hearing that. I'm just happy that the arts are growing in this community. So I'm very excited.
Cool. Happy to help.
All right, I'm not seeing any other hands up or anything in the chat, so I think you're off the hook, Lionel.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much. If you can hang around, please do so. If not, we appreciate your time. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Meryl to give us a quick update about the Jefferson Park Sunday Market.
Hi, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank Lionel for his time and talking about the project that in a normal year would be our neighbor. Obviously last year was not a normal year. Many of you know that we, as the Jefferson Park Sunday Market, participated in the Northwest Side Farmers Market Collective to try and make sure that we work towards keeping our vendors thriving and in contact with our local people. So this year we're looking at a little bit different model. We are planning on each of the, what were part of the collective last year, doing our own markets. At the moment, we are still looking towards doing something at a site that's not the park, and that's for safety, COVID, distancing, et cetera, reasons. Right now, none of us, of the volunteers, feel like we can adequately do traffic flow control and still have access to the play lot and all of the things that people want to have access to, and be able to have an effective market. We also are thinking about maybe trying to have a drive-through option so that people could still do the walk-up, but if they wanted to do a pre-order pickup, we are hoping to have that as well. Obviously, everything is changing basically as we speak. So we might feel a little bit safer by summer to just go with walk-up only, but we're still looking at some sort of social distancing safe kind of way of doing that. And so, you know, we're looking at area parking lots, basically. We're already in touch with one that are interested, but we don't have a final feedback on yet. So I can't say anything about that. That'll go up on our website and everything as soon as we do know. But right now, what we do have on our website and Facebook page are tentative dates, meaning our normal dates, what we hope to do, barring any limitations from what site that we wind up going with. And so normally our markets are second and fourth Sundays. I do say that in that way because otherwise people get really confused about what happens on that fifth Sunday. And we've got two of them over the summer. See, Portage Park usually takes those. And we don't want to go head to head with them because that doesn't work out well for anyone. And so we stick to the second and fourth, just like Independence Park does, actually. So we are the same dates as Independence Park. That's part of why we all worked together so well last year in our little collective. So one of the things, as you might have guessed from what I just said, is in order to ensure things like safe social distancing and traffic flow, we're, as always, looking for volunteers. And if anybody's interested, and that's going to probably, in years past, when we're at the park, there's a lot of setup time, setting up the greeting tent, setting up signs and things of that nature. Ahead of the market, there's all kinds of marketing things that normally happen. And so there's always going to be needs for things like that, but at a lower commitment level, anyone that can lend a couple, 3-4 hours or whatever on a Sunday morning, early afternoon, every now and again, having traffic flow people is going to be a thing this year. So if you want to reach out to us, you can do that through the Facebook page, through the website, through the email address, which is Jefferson Park Sunday Market at zoho.com. Those of you who know me personally, if you want to reach out to me via personal email or through Facebook, if you know any of the other volunteers, Maggie is one of them. So she's sitting there smiling at the camera. So, you know, I'm sure she'll let you bend her ear about that. So that's about all I've got. Does anybody have any questions for me?
I am not seeing any hands up, but I am working on getting all of those links and emails in the chat so you guys can follow up. Me and Patty did quite a few dance moves in the parking lot of Sears this last year while we helped direct cars, and it's super fun and low stress, and the more the merrier. Of course, we'll still all wear masks, but hopefully we will. Sorry, I'm like looking through. Go ahead.
One of the things about volunteering, I have to say, is how incredibly nice the vendors are. And last year we got a lot more feedback, I think, from patrons coming through, because just having a market at all was kind of huge last year, given all the concerns and considerations that we had to work with and think about, and trying to keep everybody safe and all of that. So, you know, if you want to be in a space where people are thankful, that's it.
All right, I will continue. I'll get that. They really do have the best vendors, Stamper Cheese and Fanny's and Percolator, and I'm getting thirsty and hungry.
Yeah, and those guys are all already talking about participating in whatever thing we've got.
And a tamale guy. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Oh yeah, well, they're like the first ones to ask us every year. Okay, what's the contract ready? It's January. Come on.
We also sent over we got about 6 beehives over here on the Paschke Center, so we sent over 1.5 gallons of honey over to the percolator. So,
Nice.
so yeah, honey would be fun.
I love that.
Oh, random side note, since you mentioned Percolator, if you do go to our Facebook page, many of our vendors have some version of direct outreach, or in Percolator's case, they actually have a delivery option. So if you can't get to the store and you want some of their product, they're doing their own roasting now. So, and let me tell you, that's some really, really good coffee. You can get it by subscription. They will deliver it to your door. So, you know, consider that option.
We are customers and can attest to the delivery and quality of the coffee. And we also bought their inaugural home roasted blend. And they're partnering with Weston's to roast their coffee. So
That's awesome.
JPF pals.
Nice.
Fantastic.
But there's a bunch of other vendors that are listed on our website that, again, you know, you can do direct outreach through a direct link. So check it out. And website is jeffersonparksundaymarket.com. So
Right. So with that, I will move us to something, PowerPoint. There we go. I don't even know that we need this too long, but I will kick it over to Katie to give us the treasurer's report.
All right, we currently have $9,374.26, and our membership number is not 1,262. It's, I think, 126.
There's an extra 2 there.
Yeah.
Holy cow, that's a lot.
I've been doing a lot of membership drives, apparently. So
right. Well, we haven't.
All
right. So we have 96 regular members, 4 associate, 25 business, 1 nonprofit.
Thank you. All right. So how about I kick it over to Mark to talk about community development?
Thanks, Maggie. Mark here. So next on community development. So we had our last salon on a book club a couple months ago. Next one will be in May, working on an idea about something similar, book club or video club, relating to research on programming people spaces, connected to the upcoming Weston's Alley. Some ideas on that front that could be fun. There is another regular committee meeting in April in the page calendar, as well as a meeting next week where we're talking about using mapping tools, GIS mapping tools for future projects that Ryan's been playing around with. And there's a meeting next Wednesday if anyone here is particularly interested in such things. Ryan, anything more on that front?
Yeah, just to throw out a couple of teasers of what we're going to be talking about here. So I've got some maps that I've been putting together. Everything's going to be kind of in a rough draft, but eventually the goal is it'll go out onto our public website, or in a more accessible way. But we're starting to look at transportation use, and of course this is both incorporating data from before the pandemic, but also data that we've gotten during the pandemic. So just trying to figure out how people in our neighborhood get around and how that impacts the kinds of things that we might be supportive of, whether it's walking or bike and ped type issues, that sort of thing. And then we've got a couple of things in the discussion in that meeting that we'll probably bring up, just kind of soliciting some ideas. The census has been ongoing, and there's going to be a lot of census data that's going to come out that will be able to be mapped. So we're kind of talk about projects we can tee up. So.
Well, cool. Thank you. I'm pumped because I don't know anything about it, and I'm glad to know people that do. Hey, Don.
Yes.
You got the next two?
Sure. And I apologize, I haven't put an update on the Facebook page, but yes, by all means, March, the raffle is on, and thanks to the generosity of a JPF member who will remain anonymous, for March, we're not going to have two, we're going to have 3 $25 prizes. So get those receipts in. We'll have 25 for Gale Street, 25 for community, and 25 for Rep Chai. And in case you haven't seen the news, beginning this weekend, one of our business partners, Windsor Tavern, has reopened. So that's another opportunity to go ahead and get a receipt and support some local businesses and get those receipts in. Also, I've already scheduled the JPF walk for April. It's on April 17th. Last Saturday, we had our March walk. The last couple walks, we've lucked out with just incredible weather. Both walks, both February and March, we had double-digit attendance. Really a great time. Hopefully, March will be a good time as well. We're basically going to walk down Long Avenue to Grand and walk the length of Grand Avenue all the way to River West, and find some place for a little bit of refreshment, and then take the CTA back, I assume. But it'll be Saturday, April 17th. The usual meetup at Weston's, although we're going to make these start a little bit earlier. This one's going to meet at Weston's at 9:30. Always feel free to get there a little earlier for a beer. It's always a nice way to start it off. And that's my nickel.
Awesome. So the last update is the spring cleanup. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. So we are hoping to support the efforts of Jefferson Park and the Jefferson Park Advisory Committee with their annual Earth Day cleanup. So what we're going to do is wait on them to get us a date and a time. And then once they have that, we're going to ideally plan some buffer events, like a little pregame and postgame cleanups. So you all should be on the lookout for an email with the newsletter that's going to give you the deets on how to share your suggestions with us, or you can just hop over to our Facebook page. We have a post over there. both on the main group and in the livability committee page, asking, where should we go? Where should we schedule some other cleanups? So we'll get out, get our community clean. And then, the way everything's looking, we can probably all go sit on a patio and have some cocktails after. So fingers crossed we keep on that trend, because I miss you and I miss being at the bar a little. So that's it, guys. Does anyone else have any business? Did I miss any of my directors or committee members? Sorry if I did. Please speak up now. All right, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and close the meeting. What that basically means is I'm going to stop streaming on YouTube. You're all more welcome to stay, grab a cocktail, hang out for a little bit, but the official meeting is over. Thank you all so much for coming.
We can